is Thompson. I'm ahead of the Play It Again sound label. It's quite broad. I mean, it's everything from Enter Shikari to Melanie DiBiasio, Agnes Obel, Pixies, editors. It generally lives in that alternative world, but I like to think it's quite a broad version of alternative. I think everybody has choice now. Artists have choice, and that's the key thing for artists. If they want to do something they can themselves, they can. If they want to sign to a major, they can. If they want to sign to an independent, they can. It's about finding the right people to work with. I like to think we'll have a team of people that artists like working with. But it's about chemistry nowadays. There are many options, and an independent label is one of them, and it's up to us to make it worthwhile for the artist to sign to us. I think the market's a little bit fucked up at the moment, to be honest. You know, a lot of good music finds it difficult to find a commercial home. You know, you listen to the radio, you see TV, it's all celebrity based. And because of the streaming market, it ends up playing into the hands of mainstream music. I think the independence of the labels that are still focusing on artist development, still wanting to work with artists over a longish period of time, and see steady growth rather than spikes. And I think that's a much healthier situation for an artist to be in rather than big 1 minute, small the next. We like to grow, develop our artists steadily. And I think that's generally an independent ethic. I mean that it's a little bit more fun. I don't think it's going to change the commercial landscape, but it's nice to see something grow. In a digital age, it's nice to see a tactile, physical format. And I think that's what's generally happened. If you want convenience, you go digital. If you want art or something to feel ownership of, you generally buy vinyl now. So it's been lovely to see. Don't think it's a big game changer in the commerce, but it's an important part of the art. Not massively, no. We've done the odd cassette. I think there's a cassette store day or cassette day in October, and as it happens, it'll coincide with us releasing our new Pixies album, and we'll make a cassette because cassette days virtually the same week. So that's about as wacky as we'll get, I think. We embrace it wholeheartedly. I think now, you know, there are downsides and there are upsides. You know, the money takes a lot longer to come in. When you connect, we're just finding the catalogue ticks over a lot easier now. We're not having to make very old items; they're just available, and you find that there's a remarkable tick over in streaming. So, again, as a commercial model, it's working quite well. I think with new artists, it makes life a little bit more difficult because people now can check an artist out via streaming or YouTube, which is effectively streaming anyway, and make a decision based on one or two listens rather than the engagement with the artist by going out to buy something to hear what it sounds like. So it means it's harder for new artists to get some momentum. Once you get that momentum, it works very well. I mean, I think we accept that people like Spotify and Apple are paying us as best they can. You know, they've got business models to make work as well. We all know there are other companies that maybe there are more issues with regards the now legendary value gap. But I think certainly the key streaming services, we're not upset by what they're paying us. Everything's hard to do. So if an artist is prepared to work hard, they could probably do a lot of what a label does. But it's difficult, you know, how do you build up an international network? You've got to manage your promotional teams, you've got to manage your marketing teams, you've got to be able to create assets. And this is all on top of making a record and having an artistic vision for that record. You've then got to have a commercial vision for that record. And maybe the idea of a label being in that place creates more of a better chemistry than somebody trying to do everything themselves. You know, a lot of artists now, more management build up teams around themselves that enables them to release music themselves. I don't feel that's necessarily a bad way to go for a lot of artists. It depends what you want. We provide a home. And if you like that home, then you'll like working with us and we'll do well. If you want to, I don't know, I'm going to get cheese. You just want to live in your own home and stay there all the time. No, that sounds wrong, I think. You know what I mean? You can do it, it's hard work. Prepared to do that, fine. But we hopefully can provide the services a damn sight easier. I have a little whimsical belief at the moment that the only time in the current climate, the only time an album is exciting is before it's released. So I think there's a strong case now for making sure that you feed the audience, you feed the media with more than you would normally have done previously. And so why would anyone buy an LP anymore? You've got to think, why does anyone really connect with an artist? Why will they invest £20 on a piece of vinyl when everything's free? We have to bring them in. And so we can bring them in through narrative, through music, through visuals. And a lot of the time that's done better before the album comes out. The album is now just a moment. It's a moment when a lot of music is released. Okay, a lot of artists, and even us as record labels, still view the album romantically. And I'd love the album to always be seen as a body of work, but in many people's minds, it's just a moment in an artist's campaign where 8, 10, 12 songs appear on the marketplace. And then, so you have very many stages with campaigns now. Nothing is simple anymore. Do you release 4 tracks before the album comes out? Do you release none and try and position the album? Do you do 2 and 2 afterwards? We try to be quite fluid, but I do believe that you do need to bring people towards an album more than you used to do. I think we're going to see interesting changes in how music's going to be released. The album kind of exists because the album exists. No one's really thought of anything better. But obviously we're now seeing a strong single track marketplace that we can't deny. As much as we love the album, it's the successful single tracks, the playlist marketplace for streaming sites, and they say EPs, multiple EPs, but everybody still loves an album. The artist, the labels, the public even. So it kind of exists because everyone loves it. Even though in many ways it doesn't actually make much sense in the way people consume music. But it's still a great piece to have. Get a good manager and work hard and do all the basics. You know, I think the chances of being signed from scratch, from just sending a demo out, are not zero, but pretty much zero. So you're going to have to do a lot of work yourself. You may even release some tracks yourself, but get a good manager. Everything, you know, the managers are very important in everything we do now. God bless them artists, but they're quite emotional beasts at times. So, you know, and there's a lot of tough conversations that have to go on during a campaign. And, you know, a good manager will know the parameters of their artist. And it's so much easier for us to talk to the manager and get a yes or no from the manager rather than stick it into an artist world, especially if they're middle of touring or just busy, a promo. So managers are essential. They need to strategize their artists. They need to provide the link with the rest of the people that are working on the campaign. So yeah, we love talking to our artists and hanging out with our artists, but business with artists is tricky. I do wonder why anyone does it, because it must be quite tough. And I assume, you know, there's a lot of, I come down here, I've been doing this business for 30 years, and I come down here and I used to know every independent label, and now I'm seeing labels that I don't know. So I'm assuming that there is a way to make business work at a low level. But again, I think you're probably doing other things as well. You may be putting shows on and having a record label. You might have a management arm. I think you've got to be much more multifunctioning now to actually get yourself started even.